he was seated, he opened his mouth. And here Matthew tells us that Jesus was seated, because yesterday I told you that when the rabbi teach, he needs to sit down, and the students will sit around his feet or stand around him. And Matthew here doesn't say that Jesus started shouting. He said he opened his mouth and he started speaking. So how come that thousands of people that were gathered here around Jesus were able to hear the word of God? The landscape actually over here forms a natural theater. They saw the acoustics at that time reading all the people, and this is how all the people were able to hear the word from God. Now, mountains are frequently mentioned in the Bible. Jesus went up the mountain. We have more documents up to the mountain. What happened in the Old Testament when Moses went up to the mountain? He got the commandments, right? He got the law in the Old Testament. And here Jesus went up the mountain to give us the new law. And this is what that was telling you about these Beatitudes. And if we look at these Beatitudes, each Beatitude consists of two phrases. One deals with God in heaven, the second deals with us and humans. So there is just like this vertical line that connects us as human on earth to God in heaven. So here Jesus gave us the new law that is about love. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And some here do consider and connect the Beatitude with Beatitude. The Beatitudes is Beatitude. It's about our attitudes to each other, and this is how we can enter the kingdom of God. I will stop here because Pastor
that it happened like this, that Jesus appeared to his disciples on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. But at that time, the disciples were here. Peter said, let's go fishing early in the morning. The rest of the disciples joined him. They took the boat, they went into the sea. They did not catch anything. They spent that night without catching any fish. And that was the time when Jesus appeared to them. And he said, children, have you caught anything? They said, we have got nothing.
Yeah.
Jesus said, throw the net on the right side of the boat. And when they throw the net on the right side of the boat, they caught a lot of fish. 153 fish. And this is when John realized that it's the Lord. So he said, it's the Lord. When Peter heard it's the Lord, he put his garment on his waist, he jumped into the water, and he came to the shore. Later, the disciples came. Again, there were 153 of big fish, yet the net did not break. Jesus was preparing a charcoal fire over here, and he told Peter, Peter, do you love me more than these? Peter said, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said, feed my lambs. For the second time, Peter, do you love me? Yes, Lord, I love you. Feed my sheep. And on the third time, when Jesus told Peter, do you love me? Peter was there. He said, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Were found in many languages. And that's why we believe that the graffitis that we have here are the work of the pilgrims that came here from the 3rd century, if not earlier. At that time, people did not have your iPhones. So when they came here, they used to leave their graffitis on the wall. When they go back home, they will tell their kids, their children, go to Capernaum and you will see my graffiti. Right now you are taking photos, and when you go back home, you will tell your relatives that this is what we have seen in Capernaum. Christianity at that time, in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, was a persecuted faith. So when Christianity was legalized, the house of Peter that we have there, do you see it? Yes, was turned into a church. Remember the Spanish pilgrim Egeria that I mentioned? When she came here and visited, she wrote to us that the house of the Prince of the Apostle was turned into a church with its original walls still standing. So most probably she was talking about which wall?
The inner wall.
The inner one. When Christianity prospered in the 5th century and 6th century, more pilgrims came here, so they expanded the church and they turned it into this octagon church where you see the octagon walls. This church was destroyed in 614 by the Persians, and the current one was built in the 20th century over the house of Peter. Now, in case you go up to the church, you will see a glass window on the floor, and this will be almost the height of the house where they brought the paralyzed man into the house of Peter. Remember when there were crowds around the house, so they went up to the roof and they lowered the man. And this gives us an indication that houses at the time of Jesus, the walls were solid, they were made of stones, but the roof was fragile. You can see it, and that's why they went up to the roof and brought Jesus from there. So that will be almost the height of that roof. Also, Jesus performed another miracle here when he healed Peter's mother from a fever. Have any one of you lived with his mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law, yeah.
In the Middle East, it's considered to be just like a curse. People do not tolerate living with their mother-in-law.
My wife's Polish, so
Yeah, different. Some do say that that was the reason why Peter later denied Jesus in Jerusalem, because he killed his mother-in-law from
yeah.
Now, on the other side, we see the synagogue. Yes. A synagogue.
Oh, synagogue. Okay.
This is where Jesus was like someone who had authority.